You're good.
Okay.
Okay.
We're live.
Going live. We're going live.
Andrea,
Hi.
can I be honest? This
Yes.
is my first time going live with another human. So this is exciting.
Amazing. Can I be honest? This is my first time with a full 3-camera setup in my private office podcast studio. And my first time doing a live with our technical director, Edwin Ruiz, behind the scenes.
What, Edwin?
So if you can't hear us or see us, that's Edwin's fault.
And we would love to fix it. So let us know. Or I don't know. Is that a thing that people can do? No? Okay.
Well, people can comment in the chat. So if you're watching on LinkedIn or on YouTube, you can put comments in the chat, I believe. Instagram is kind of funky. Instagram sometimes plays nicely with us and sometimes not. So it appears to be working at this moment. So yay. Do you know why? It's because Mary posted on Instagram right before going live to tell people to join us. So you appeased the meta gods.
For sure, for sure. Yeah. That is what we do here. We just appease the meta gods so that they like us, so that they will continue to do things.
Absolutely. And no, we don't. We often don't. And that's why we've had problems in the past. So let me just click over here. Oh, yep, that's the view that I want. Okay, so we are live with Creativity and Media as Resistance on The Creative Imposter. I am here with the fabulous Mary Doctor, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I met Mary. So a couple of months ago, my friend Isabel Rizzo, who was on The Creative Imposter a long time ago, we should probably have her back, sent me a text and she's like, hey, if you're free on this night, come to this thing. And it was called Show and Tell for Grownups. I was like, okay. And then because Isabel was part of it, I was like, yeah, let's do it. And I didn't know what to expect exactly. And I came into, what is the location? Talia Hall.
Mm-hmm.
Talia Hall, which is in the Pilsen neighborhood in Chicago. And we went into like the little sneaky back room that I didn't know existed. And there's about like 30 or so people gathered all together. And it was like buzzy. It was like anticipation. And it was very exciting. I still didn't know what was going to happen. Sit down in the audience. Our tech director, Edwin, was with me. And what proceeded to happen is this very energetic, bubbly, fun woman comes up on stage and introduces herself and tells us how the evening is going to go, gets everybody excited. And then we get these little mini presentations on topics of everything from people pirating Trader Joe's products in Canada, which was one of my favorite stories because I adore Trader Joe's. To we had designing the perfect charcuterie board.
Oh, yes.
And my favorite part about that presentation is that the audience gets to ask questions after the presentation. And somebody asked, this will forever stick in my mind, if Lunchables count as charcuterie. And I was like, oh, I am at once nostalgic for Lunchables and also impressed that Lunchables can be charcuterie. So it was just this really fun, casual event. People were participating, people were laughing. And one other thing that I want to say about that night is that you had the best rule for our participation. Do you know which rule I am going to say is the best rule?
Is it rule number 1?
I don't know what number it was, but it's the best.
Okay. Well, rule number 1 of Show and Tell for Grownups is don't be a chard.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. And for those of you that couldn't really hear me, I did say chard because chard is short for Richard, which is long for.
You can say things.
Can I say it? Okay. Chard is short for Richard, which is long for Dick. So my rule number 1 of Show and Tell for Grownups is don't be a dick, but it's a PG-13 show, and therefore we say don't be a chard. And so what that embodies is like it sets the tone for the rest of the evening, because what we try to do is we build this beautiful little world in whatever space that we're taking over that day. And the world is all about acceptance and inviting people to be themselves, but also to share and have fun and learn. Everything about show and tell for grown-ups is asking people to tell me why something is cool, so that then the people in the audience can learn about that subject and then also ask their own questions. Um, it's a really wholesome, wonderful night that I dreamed of making happen, and now we're over a year in, and it's working and it's growing, and I'm really, really proud of what I've built.
And how did this idea come to be? How, where, when? Like you were
Yeah.
sitting under a tree and no, I don't know.
Well, let's set the scene. It was early in 2024, and I was sitting in my studio apartment alone, scrolling through Instagram / TikTok. I don't remember which, and I was doing this deep dive into this one creator who. There were two that I was like kind of obsessed with at the moment. There was one that was an automated dairy farm, and this man posted so many videos about how his dairy farm works and how the cows like it because they do this, and like how the machine works and how it's, and like I learned so much about dairy farming in this in with this man, and I had so many questions, but like I'm not a person that like writes to other people on the internet, and so I'm like my one comment is not going to get an answer, right? Because this guy has like thousands and thousands and million, I don't know how many followers.
A lot of people into dairy farming.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There are lots of them. And I was like, shoot, I wish that I could ask him questions, but it's the internet, so I can't. And then another time I was sitting at home alone. I was diving into how like custom suits are made in England, and it was fascinating because it was there's one person that takes the measurements. There's one person that is the that makes the pattern. There's one person that cuts and only cuts. The other person sews and only sews. And it was just this like huge system that I had never known about, because I'm like, I don't know, a machine. You use a sewing machine and you make a thing. Anyway, again, I had questions. I wanted to talk to them. But again, I'm sitting at home alone. And I'm like, wait a minute. I live in one of the best cities in the world. I live in Chicago. There have to be people here that are also doing cool stuff like this that I could talk to. And so I reached out to friends of mine who I knew were brilliant engineers and designers and just creative people, and I said, "Hey, do you want to do 5 minutes? Like, if I gave you 5 minutes and an audience of people to tell me why something is cool, would you want to do that?" And they were like, "Yeah, sure, I'll come." And then I went to a bunch of other people and I was like, "Hey, people are gonna take 5 minutes to tell us why something is cool, and then you can ask them any questions you want, as long as they're like PG-13 questions and like nice questions. Do you want to come?" And then people started showing up. My first venue, I think we had 27 seats sold out of 35 seats. So that was like the most amazing first show I could have ever dreamed of. And then it just kept going from there.
So for that first show,
Mm-hmm.
what was going through, can you even remember what was going through your mind like before the show? Were you worried about whether people were gonna like it? Like you knew people were coming.
Uh-huh.
So what was that like for you?
Okay, so there was, I love that the show is about creative imposter, right? And I I was recently at a panel discussion where one of the panelists said, to make it in this world, all you have to do is have the audacity. And so getting ready for that first show, I was just like, I'm gonna have the audacity. And then I made it happen. So whether I am delusional or confident, I don't know which one you want to call it, but that is why. I got on stage and I was like, well, these are my rules. Don't be a chard, meet new friends, and pay attention to timing and be a teammate. Great. Those are the rules. You guys interpret them as you want. Let's go have fun and learn something. And for some reason, I just knew that it was going to work. And I just keep telling myself it's going to work. It's going to work. And it has.
And so what has been the feedback from the audiences? Like, what have you heard? And presenters, because one thing that I liked about this event is like the presenters are part of the audience and the audience can become presenters.
Yeah.
So there's this there's not like everybody is all in it together.
Mhm.
It's not there's not like a differentiation between who is coming up and talking for 5 minutes about something they're passionate about. It's not a sales pitch. It's not you know, you might be an expert on the topic,
Mhm.
but you're not like, hi, I'm an expert on the topic here to teach you how to do this topic or something,
Yeah.
you know. So what's been the feedback from participants?
Yeah. So one of the things that I also put in any of my marketing materials, or like when I want people to sign up, is one of the things is that you don't need a PhD to be knowledgeable about this topic. And the audience knows that. So like if you're gonna come and teach us about astrophysics, you don't have to be an astrophysicist, which means you might get some things wrong because there might be an astrophysicist in the audience. And that is okay. Like that's one of the things about like have the audacity. Don't be afraid. Because everybody we create this world where everybody's here to have fun, learn something, support each other. And so that's also why don't be a chart is the number one rule, because if there is an astrophysicist in the audience and they disagree with you on stage, I welcome that as long as they can say it in a nice way,
Yeah.
so that we're all being encouraging. But so yeah, you don't need to be an expert in it. You just need to be passionate about something. Because I truly believe that if someone is passionate about a subject, that passion and that excitement for it comes across and gets other people excited about it. So some of the feedback that I get from people when like audience members that are like, oh my gosh, this is so much fun, but I could never get on that stage. No, I don't do anything that's interesting. People are not interested in the things that I'm interested in. I'm like, but are you interested in them? Are you passionate about them? Because I'm pretty positive that if you can get up and be excited about something, everyone in that room will also be excited with you. And so they like it's really funny when audience members yeah, they say I'm not that interesting, and I'm like, I bet you are. So if you have something and you want to put together 5 minutes, bring it. But I also don't force people to participate because I mean, I'm guessing a lot of people have had jobs where they have those like HR departments where they make you have fun together, right? Like where they're
Icebreakers.
exactly. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I can't. I once had someone ask the question of we're in a professional setting, and the icebreaker question was, uh, "What would your best friend say about you?"
Mhm.
And I'm like, I, I don't know. She would probably say that we've been best friends since we were children, and we know everything about each other, and we've been through each other. Like, I don't know. What am I supposed to say to that? And so I think that I came up with some. Mary's always here to bring the hype and to be. I don't know. I don't know what my best friend would say about me. Ask her, not me. And so I don't like those kinds of questions. I don't like icebreaker questions. What I want to know is like, what is something that you're really excited about right now?
Mhm.
What did you research last that you didn't know about before, but now you're stoked that you know it? Which maybe these are harder questions than what would your best friend think about you? Because I don't know. For me, those are easier questions. What? What?
Hot tip for
Uh-huh.
the audience. If you are going to a networking event or a conference or something like that, don't ask what somebody does or where they work.
Yeah.
Ask them something that they're really excited about in their life or work right now.
Mhm.
And people will like pause because it's not the question that they're expecting. But I think most people like that because it's like, oh, if I'm at a conference, the joke used to be when I would go to podcasting conferences, everybody would be like, so do you have a podcast?
No, I am
Like,
here because I love fluorescent lighting and rows of tables on weird carpet. It is my favorite.
Or how many times can you meet a new stranger and tell them about your show
Right.
and whatever? And now podcasting conferences are more diverse, and not everybody there has a podcast, because you have a lot of service providers and tech people and musicians and all kinds of people that are involved in podcasting, but maybe don't have their own show. But that used to be the joke back in the day. And I think like having a more interesting opening question, like immediately creates an opportunity for a connection. And that was something that I noticed at that event was, and full disclosure, I have only been to one so far, not
That's
for
okay.
lack of wanting to go. It's just like, I'm like, oh, calendar, not free, not free, not free. So,
Yeah.
but what I really liked is that people did talk to each other. Like strangers talked to each other. And it wasn't in some weird forced thing where it's like, no, we're all gonna turn to our I mean, you did do a turn to your neighbor
I
thing.
did, but it's because we need to open the scene, being like, yo, this is what you're used to, is someone saying, ask the person next to you a get to know you question. I hate it, but we gotta do it because some people need that opening, okay? We try to switch it up. Do you remember what the question was
No
that
idea.
night? I don't remember either. But we try to switch up those questions depending on the theme of the show, the venue, or stuff like that. So like the last one that we did was at the Surgical Science Museum. So the International Museum of Surgical Science, we go there every couple of months. We love it there. We love them. Shout out. But the last question was, if you could be friends with any fictional doctor from like a TV show or a book or something, who would you be friends with and why? And so that just gets people thinking about stuff in different ways, right? And you talk about it in different ways. And somebody said that they would be friends with Doctor Who, and I was like, great. Tell me why, because I do not know anything about Doctor Who, but I bet you do. So please tell me more. And yeah, so that again, that just starts a conversation in a different way. So yes, we have to do one get to know you question. The likelihood of people in the audience actually doing that one, you probably didn't even ask anybody that question. But what signaling you're supposed to go talk to people about, it invites people to turn to their neighbor and say something. One of my favorite things, like I got so excited when you just mentioned that people were talking. Like, I know, it makes me so incredibly happy, because sometimes people will come to the show by themselves, and I try to talk to people before the show. That's why I always say that doors open 30 minutes before the actual show starts, because I want people in the space. I want people to get to know each other. Also, I want to get to know the people. So I try really hard to go and talk to just about every group that is there. And a lot of times there are people that are just sitting by themselves and things like that. So I always try really hard to go talk to them, because I'm like, how did you find it? So stoked you're here. Do you not know anybody? Sweet. I don't know these people either. Do you? Let me help. Like, this is my job. This is what I do. So all this to say that it is a huge moment of pride for me when the person that came alone because they're new to the city and they want to get out of the house, when that person comes to that show, makes a friend, and then they show up at the next one, and then they come to another one. And then like within 2 months, they've been to multiple shows, and then they come to one of our I host hangouts, which are because during the shows people are watching and learning, but you also get to start conversations, right? But you don't have time to finish them. So I host monthly hangouts where we go to a bar or a restaurant. Sometimes we'll even just like go to a park, and we'll hang out. No structure other than that we are all cool people who are not chards, who want to meet new friends and learn cool stuff. So that's what we're there for. So yeah, those people will just keep coming, and they'll meet new friends, and then they'll be like, yeah, I'm actually getting dinner with that person that I met at that first night because we both found out that we really like seashells. I don't know, something like that. Yeah, that's what we do here.
And Jonas has a comment on the screen going back to our prompt about what would your best friend say about you.
Oh yeah.
I have a cousin at home who has been best friends for about 20 years, since 2002. And another best friend, Frederick Adams, who I think Jonas met at school, for about 10 years. So yeah, don't know what Jonas, you can put in the chat, what would your best friends say about you if somebody said, tell me about Jonas, what would they say about you? Curious.
Yeah.
But one thing, so shifting a little bit, we've been talking
Mhm.
about why show and tell for grown-ups is cool
Mhm.
and what's great about it and how fun it is and engagement. But this series
Mhm.
is creativity and media as resistance.
Ah.
And I think the word resistance brings up a different feeling, a different vibe. And some of the guests that I've been having on are directly involved in some kind of like government podcast or diversity, equity, and inclusion, or activism, or something that is directly related to the social political moment that we
Mhm.
are in right now in the United States. And decidedly, I don't know if anyone ever pitches or does any political type topics.
So it's actually specifically in the rules that for anybody that's bringing a subject to show and tell, one of the rules for the presenters themselves is your topic must ignite interest, not fuel fires. And so if what we're talking about is something that you think is really, really cool, and if you think something that's cool is either racist or homophobic or sexist or political or religious, this is not the platform for you. But that being that I don't want to create a platform for people to pontificate about something that they feel so strongly about and that they're not willing to see the other side about it.
Yeah.
That's not what we're here for. What we're here for is we are here to learn things and to listen. And so I specifically make it so that you cannot talk about politics on my show. And the reason for that is not just because I don't want to cause any clashes, because I don't want to cause any frustrations, even though that's like, yes, I want this to be a world where we can all be ourselves and we don't have to identify whether we're liberal or Republican or things like that, because I think that if you listen to people with different views, you can learn so much. You do not need to agree with them, but you can see them as humans and you can see them as something other than the other side. So, one of the things that has really impressed me about the audiences of show and tell is that I do get, like, yes, a majority of the audience is Gen Z. Like, it's people in it's in Gen Z. I personally started the show as a single woman in her 30s because I wanted to meet people. And so there are a lot of other people that are in the same situation as me that are single in 30s and women. Like that's what the show attracts a lot of. And I don't know if that's just because that's who I am or what it is. But yeah, so but there are also what was really cool is there's the phenomena that I keep getting these like girl groups, these gal pals that are in their 50s, 60s, and even 70s that are out for a night out and this sounds interesting, so I'm gonna go. And then they keep coming back. And it's so cool to see people from all different walks of life that are coming to this space to learn something from other people. And yeah, so in talking about resilience,
Resistance.
resistance, media and resistance, I want to create a space where we can talk about things that are not politically charged, which, if you're listening in a way that is open, you can learn so much about what is happening in the world. I don't want to talk about it specifically. I want to talk about it in the peripheral. I tend to
In the
shorten.
periph.
In the periph. If you haven't noticed anything, I like to make up my own words. But okay, so can I also tell you why I like to make up my own words?
Yes, please.
Because this relates to what we were just talking about. I do not like to subscribe to definitions of words that other people are making up. So like I came up with don't be a chard because nobody knows what that means.
Okay.
And so then people pay attention and then it either clicks with you or you think it's stupid. And if you think it's stupid, that is okay. I am okay with that. What's funny is that people either love that joke or think it's so dumb. And what's really funny is that the people that tell me that it's really dumb are only dudes that I was trying to date.
Oh.
And so I'm like, maybe this is a pattern, and I don't know. I am not dating any of them. But yeah, no, they ended up being kind of charged, but that's okay. They're just not for me, and that's okay. Sorry, what was the question? I feel like I took us on a tangent.
The tangent was
Resistance.
why you like to make up
Oh yeah.
words and phrases in the periph. So we covered
Yes.
that.
Yes. Well, yeah. The reason is because I think that you should make conscious decisions about things rather than subscribing to what the populace uses and things of that sort. Which maybe this is a little bit of a me in my own little world, but my core values are that I want to accept people for who they are, and I want to create good and happiness in the world. And I understand that the world is kind of stressful and shitty at times. And I'm not saying to completely ignore those things, but I'm saying make those conscious decisions. Don't agree with a label that someone has put on you or you put on you because it's easy to get around. Make decisions. Choose for yourself. And so that's why I make up words, because then I get to define what those words actually mean to me.
It also means that you might be a cult leader because
okay.
Because I have heard that in the cult leader playbook, you're supposed to create language that people can repeat. So
oh no.
So yeah, just beware.
No. Okay.
No, I'm kidding.
What's funny is that, like, with the jobs that I've had in the past, I've been, remember how I said there are lots of HR people that force fun on people?
Yes.
My past jobs have been to be that person, but I've learned enough. Don't force fun. Invite people to have fun. And so what's funny is that some of the feedback that I got from like one of my old jobs was like, Mary, all you're doing is serving Kool-Aid. You're just serving the company Kool-Aid. And
also culty.
And exactly. So like, I get it. But if we're talking about surrounding ourselves by people that have the same values, that want good in the world, and that want to make things happen, you have to create some kind of language around that. You have to create an understanding amongst people. So am I starting a cult? I do not want to be known as that, but if it happens, our cult would be founded on not being a chard, number one, making new friends, and helping each other. And so like if that is bad, then I don't want to be a part of it. I don't know. We'll clean that up in post. There is no post.
This is live. There is no post.
Okay.
Also, what year are you running for president? Because I think this is a good platform for your
no
presidency.
charts, new friends, help each other.
Done.
That's how we change the world.
Well, and I appreciate what you're creating because it feels like we almost cannot get away from some of these conversations right now, where it's like my entire podcast feed, all the shows I love to listen to, it's like that guy again, that horrible thing that he did, that friend of that guy again, even if they're not politics podcasts. Like it's just everywhere. My Instagram feed, all the things that enrage me. And I'm not going to Instagram to be enraged. Like that's not why I'm there. And going even in public groups, it's like we're hanging out socially and we're talking about fun things, and then the conversation always has to go in that direction because it's so like ever present in our psyches right now. And so this was kind of a welcome respite from all of that. And yet at the same time, the other side of that is something that I've been struggling with and I've talked about here on the series, is that there's a part of me that feels like the world is on fire. Everything is crumbling. I don't even know what America looks like in 6 months, let alone in 3.5 years from now. How could I possibly choose to go to show and tell for grownups and have conversations about baseball cards and charcuterie boards and things like that when like, how dare I? Like, what a privilege to be able to go to a thing and have fun and talk about things that are not the world crumbling. So, thoughts around that?
Yeah, so many thoughts around that. So I have worked a lot in like the startup community.
Mhm.
The reason why I had the audacity or the nerve to start my own company was because I was around all of these founders that have a vision and they start executing it and then they see what happens. And a lot of in the founder community, resilience is a thing that is talked about a lot. And to me, what that means is that as a founder, everything is on fire all the time. But if you are making something succeed, you need to ignore the fire, embrace the flames, and keep going. uh, because you need to find the morsels of happiness in there, right? A new phrase that that I've started using, because I was talking to a friend of mine who was saying that I'm being really negative about a lot of things. I'm really stressed out, a lot of negativity, and I was told that, and I was like, oh well, shoot. And so they were like, you are handing me a dead bird right now. And what I need you to do is I need you to see that you have grilled chicken. Think about it. If someone is handing you something and they're saying, I'm handing you a dead bird, that's gross. But if they say, I'm handing you grilled chicken, oh, okay, thank you. It's the same thing. A chicken is a dead bird. You know what I mean? And so it's all about changing your perspective on something. And yes, it could sound delusional, and I am very aware of that. I am a very logical person, but I'm a creative, and so I'm a very emotional person. And so I'm constantly dealing with that back and forth of logically, this is happening, but it doesn't feel good.
Mhm.
And that's not fun. But logically, can I help anything? I can take care of myself. I can make sure that what I am putting out into the world is making it a better place. I'm not going to ignore the things that are happening around me, but I am going to do my hardest to defend my peace, to create a world
Mhm.
around me that is valuable and doing good for others. And that's kind of why I think
Mhm.
that's why I think what I'm doing is really important. But no, I so much greatly appreciate that you felt that when you came to the show. Um, uh, yeah, one of the other things that as a founder, what I have found with myself and like with everything on fire, yes, political things on fire all the time. The world is so bad. Your Instagram feed is so bad. But like, have you ever deleted Instagram off of your phone for a week? It's I my entire business is run on Instagram. Okay, my entire business
Yes.
has grown
You
because
are the
of
queen of
Instagram.
Instagram.
Oh my god, thank you so much.
Wait, I've made you a cult leader, a president, and a queen all in this one interview.
Oh my gosh. See this world? This is what I'm no.
But yeah, delete Instagram.
I'm super Midwestern and I was raised very Catholic. So like anything that is prideful is disgusting to me. So all of these things that you are saying to
Sorry.
me is gross. But
You can take a shower before you leave.
oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, so what I have found when I get into like my friend said that I was being really negative,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes you need to acknowledge that you're being negative and the things that you are observing in the world are super negative. So if you are a person that wants to take a dead bird and turn it into grilled chicken, great, so proud of you. It takes so much work to be able to see the positive side in every situation. But also sometimes what you need to do is just take a break from it. Like I have a couple of projects that I'm working on right now that I am so deep. I am so in there and I am like strangling it to try to get done with it. And the days that I am able to be like, sorry, can I drop an F bomb?
Yeah.
One of the days, well, I just did whatever. Whenever the days that I'm like, well, fuck it, I'm just gonna throw that in a closet and forget about it for 3 days, and I'll come back. Then I am able to come back with such a refreshed view of everything. And so if the show is nothing else to people than 2 hours of just a refresh, that is the dream. I keep on saying that everything is the dream. I got a lot of things that I want to do with this show, but uh, yeah, it's a platform that is here to be whatever you want it to be. Um, we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier. Is like when presenters, what feedback have I gotten from presenters? Some people are like, oh my gosh, I have this crazy collection and I've never gotten to show it to people. I want to show it to people. Thank you for letting me.
Mhm.
I'm like, that's so cool. So there was one woman in the audience that she has a belt buckle collection,
Oh.
and she hasn't been to the show yet. Like she hasn't brought it to the show because we couldn't get in on that one. But the more I talk to her, she has like over 270 belt buckles.
Wow.
And she has stories for all of them. She's like, oh yeah, this was from, I got it from this thing in the 70s when blah 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 blah. And like, I was like, you are so cool. Anyway, so it is the show to the presenters is a place to show off your weird collections. There are other people that have one dude that's really into stats. I forgot what that's called, what he does for a living. But he did a presentation on statistically what is the best Pokemon.
Oh.
And so we learned about that. We learned so much about Pokemon. Another person talked all about a theory of how the moon was formed and why satellites hate the South Atlantic. Interesting things I never knew about.
Yeah.
We also had a presenter that defended ray gun and why she was in the Olympics and how people interpret it wrong. So she did just like a 2 hour deep dive researching ray gun, and then she came and gave us a 5 minute presentation about how ray gun got to the Olympics, and the Australian breakdancer, for anyone that doesn't get it. Anyway, so that's another thing, is that I don't know who I could talk to these topics about. So thank you for creating this platform. But the other thing that I love is that I had one presenter who was a little bit of a risk. We do a little bit of research on each of the presenters before they show up. But I could not find this person on the internet, and except for that, their Instagram, but it was a cat, or it was anime, and like everything in their feed was a cat or something else. And I was like, I don't know who this person is, but in emailing them, they seem like they're gonna be like, I laid out the rules, I like checked some stuff, and I was like, I don't know. And then she shows up, and she's like, I am terrified of public speaking, but I try once a year to do public speaking. So thank you for creating my opportunity to do this year. And she ended up being one of our favorite presenters that night. And so what I do is we have a monthly showcase every third Sunday of the month at Lincoln Lodge, which is this Sunday. We bring back audience's favorite presenters. And so because she crushed it, she was brought back, and she's like, you made public speaking so easy. So feedback from the audience is it creates so many opportunities for so many different people. Whether you're trying to just have a night out that doesn't involve drinking, or it doesn't revolve around drinking, come do that. Whether you want to learn new things, meet new people, come do that. So the platform is there for whatever you need it to be, as long as you agree to the rules of don't be a chard, meet new friends, and teamwork.
And you said, like, you keep saying, like, it's the dream, and there's so many things that you want to do with this platform. So let's dream for a moment.
Oh my gosh.
Dream sequence.
Wayne's World.
Don't get me in trouble with copyright infringement.
Sorry.
No,
that wasn't like 10 seconds. It was
what would be the dream? So the show is a live show. It happens a few times a month in different venues, right now in Chicago. So what's coming up in your dream space from here?
Yeah. So there are a couple of different paths. I said that I'm a founder, and so it's like everything is on fire at all times because I'm trying to do all of them. So let's hone in on a couple of them right now. In the live show, it is such an amazing community builder. It is so wonderful to get these people in a room and to have conversations that are fun and entertaining with no real agenda other than meeting new people. And so one of my goals is to bring that to as many places as I can. I would love to expand the live shows to bring, I mean, because we're in the Midwest, like I want to go to Wisconsin, I want to go to Michigan, but like ultimately I want to bring it so that I can have satellite shows in every city, like in every state, because if I can find this many people in Chicago that are interested and willing to share something that they're passionate about and to just be nice to an entire room of people for a day, like let's do that more.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to expand to different cities. Uh, Another thing that I'm doing is that the presentations are very good, and so I am recording all of these I'm recording all of these presentations, and so the goal is to make a YouTube series on that. And then if we are going down that route a little bit more, uh, I am a performer. I am a director. I am a writer.
In case you couldn't tell.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's maybe. Um, so I want to I want to be able to dive into some of these people's really niche hobbies, niche interests, and like do it, dive into it. Let's go experience it. So my dream is to do you remember in the 90s, or no, sorry, not in the 90s, but the early aughts, I think,
Okay.
or maybe it was early 10s, but there was a show on MTV that was called Made.
My gosh, that's the second time that show has been referenced in my world in the last 2 days. Yesterday that show came up.
Wow.
Okay, go.
That's hilarious. But my dream is to find these people that are really passionate about some niche thing, that have always wanted to try it or whatever, and then make the connections to go and do that thing. So like if you are a person that is like a really enthusiastic train hobbyist, and you have model trains and you know everything about the things, I want to take you and other train enthusiasts to go to a place to talk to the people that make the I don't know things of that sort.
Mhm.
So I because the TV show Made basically had a high schooler that had a dream and then would work with them for a month, that had a goal at the end, and then you would get to do the steps to train to do that thing. It was for high schoolers. But I'm like, wait, I'm an adult and I want to do that. I have a life, and I don't tend to take I don't make the time for myself to do the things. So if I had help to do that, I want to do that. So now I want to find what other people actually want to go and try and do, and I want to connect them with the resources so that we can actually go and try and do that. Yeah. So that is a TV show that I'm wanting to put together. That'll be down the road. But yeah, I'm also trying to put together a podcast so that we can uh, bring all of these cool people together to have really interesting conversations. Because as maybe you saw at the show, the audiences have really great questions.
Great questions.
And sometimes we go on such random tangents, and they are things that I could not take us down. And so I want to bring some of these really smart people that have been presenters, and I want to put them together in a room, and I want to say, hey, we're going to talk about this topic. What can you bring from your astrophysicist? What about you from your years and years of hospitality? What can you from your medical background? Let's all have a conversation about this one topic and see where it goes. So those are a couple of my ideas.
What I also love, so I as somebody who presents professionally, I hate Q&A.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely hate Q&A because sometimes you get the most off-topic questions, or you get the person who raises their hand to ask a question, but they don't actually have a question.
Right.
They just want to talk and like
Yeah.
share their own personal story, or share that they are also an expert in the topic that you are presenting on,
Right.
or it's a question that you have no idea and you have to be like, I have no idea.
Uh-huh.
Which when you're presenting in a professional capacity, that is off-putting. However, in this space, what is great is you're not there as an expert. And so you don't have to know. So somebody can ask you a question and it almost doesn't matter whether you know or not.
Right.
It's just an opening for a conversation. So I like that. And also people are asking questions that are just like fun, right?
Mhm.
It's not that serious. And so for somebody who I'm used to presenting, and not like I have very serious presentations, but where it is something that I am known professionally for, it's fun to have to think about just being yourself and not having to be like the expert, or not having
Mhm.
to have all the answers necessarily, that you're just there sharing. And so it like, for somebody who I can also see for somebody who is not used to public speaking, where it's like, oh, the scariest thing, even scarier than death for some
Mhm.
people, where it could give you that experience in a supportive container to have an experience of public speaking
Right.
where it's not, horrifying.
Yeah. One of the things that I do at the beginning of the show, because I do invite audience members to come on stage to help me with different segments. I write stuff out and I say, hey, at the beginning of the show, I say, hey, make some noise if you are absolutely terrified to be on stage. And then the audience decides whether they are terrified of that or not. And then I'm like, great. So that means that there are a couple of you that it does not scare you. So then you can be my people that I call on, because I never want to, again, I don't want to force anybody to do anything.
Yeah.
But what's funny is that sometimes when I say, who's terrified of being on stage, and I see who makes the noise, those are some of the people that ask the most questions from the audience.
Yeah, there you
Which
go.
is so interesting, because it's like, you said that you're afraid of getting on stage to talk to people, but you are really excited to ask questions out there because you want to. There's so much of a craving for people to connect, right? There's so many introverted people that want to connect with others, but they don't want to be the center of attention.
Yeah.
I know that it might seem like I like being the center of attention, but if I am not in control, I am terrified of being
Yeah.
the center of attention. So that's my own little thing. But like, that's what yeah, that's what this also allows, is it can be anything to the audience. And I lost my train of thought, but there was a way to bring it all back into what we were talking about. Sorry, I just got really scared for a second.
Because we were talking about people being afraid, and we were talking
Uh-huh.
about like people being terrified of public speaking
Mhm.
and being the center of attention, and how it seems like you seem very confident being on stage and
Mhm.
being the center of attention. And I was laughing because it is so common for people who are actors, performers, theater people,
Mhm.
your persona, everyone perceives you as being extroverted. Everyone perceives you as being somebody who likes to be in the spotlight and
Mhm.
whatever. And most of us are quite introverted and
Mhm.
are quite like, yes, spotlight when there is a plan, when we know what we're
Yeah.
doing, when there is a persona, there is a time limit. And then when that time limit is over,
Mm.
we do not want to we do not want to interact with the public.
Exactly. And again, that's why I created the show the way that I created it, is because I'm like, I know that there are so many barriers to public speaking, to getting on stage in front of people. You're scared people are going to make fun of you. You're scared that nobody's going to be interested in what you're saying. You don't want to ramble. Blah, blah, blah. And so that's why I put up the barriers that I did, is it's, you have 5 minutes and then I will save you. Like, if you are bombing, which, to be fair, for anyone that cares, like, there have been over, okay, I'm trying to do math and I'm going to do a bad job of it, but I know that we've had over 270 presentations so far over the last year and a half. Over 270 presentations. And out of all of those presentations, there have only been 4 or 5 people that their presentations were not like killer. And it's because those people were trying to do something else. They were not trying to come and share their passion. They were trying to either be preachy about something that nobody cares about. And so it wasn't that it was passion driven, it was that they had an agenda. Don't have an agenda. Just come and tell us why it's cool. My company is called Tell Me Why It's Cool, because that's the point. We want to hear your perspective. Um, yeah, so shoot, again, I had a point and then I got so passionate about something. Again, don't have a political agenda. Just say a thing. Uh anyway, yep, I'll get back to it. There was a reason. There was a reason why I went. We'll find. I'll listen to this later, and then I'll be like, "Oh yeah, this was the point you were trying to make, Mary."
You briefly, now
Briefly.
that well, we must be getting to the end of this session
I
because
know. I'm
now
like,
you can't finish a thought and I can't speak English. Um, but you had briefly mentioned
Mhm.
um, some feelings of negativity that some people in your world were noticing,
Mhm. Yeah.
some struggles as a creative entrepreneurial founder. And I'm curious for you.
Mhm.
So there's like the typical stuff that's hard about starting a new venture.
Mhm.
There's the typical stuff that's hard about being a creative person who is putting something that you're passionate about out into the world in some kind of very visible space. And then there's also the challenge of the moment that we're in right now
Mhm.
in the world, in this country. Um, and all of that can have an effect on our energy, on our mood. I
Mm.
started this series because at the beginning of this year, I was like, I don't want to do anything.
Mm.
Like I have all these creative ideas, but the will to put something into motion
Mm.
and implement it and put it out there is like non-existent. And to the point where I started with a new therapist and I was like, what is wrong with me? I don't want to do anything. Um, and she's like, heard, but not surprised. Like, you're not alone in this feeling, especially as creatives, we tend to be a little bit more on the sensitive side. Like
Mhm.
we're feeling stuff that are our own stuff, but then we're also feeling like stuff that's in the collective. And so I'm curious for you, when some of these struggles and challenges come up, when you have days where you're like, I don't want to do this,
Mhm.
what do you do for
Mhm.
yourself? Like, how do you refresh and get back into that vibe and just keep going when it feels like the struggle is too much?
Yeah. Um. This is so crazy that have I am currently working on this in so many ways. Um. Sometimes what helps me is to distract myself with something else, which is not a good coping mechanism. Use don't say that this is the way to do things, but sometimes it helps so much to distract yourself with something else and put a pin in what you're worried about. You can come back to it. Know that you can come back to it. But if you just distract yourself with something else for a little bit, it can bring you back to it with such a refreshed mindset. My thing right now is I will be at my desk and I will be in a project and I'll be like, "Okay, you need to eat. So let's go cook something and let's put on a cheesy romance novel audiobook." That is what I do. Um I yeah, that's what I do. Is some people again could say that that's dissociating. Okay, cool. Well, it's a tactic that works, and as long as you do it in a way that is um as long as you do it in a way that is healthy and that you're not just completely removing yourself from the world, um that I mean that's good. Another thing that I do is I try something new. Doesn't matter what it is. Just try something new because if you put effort in a different direction, then that feels good. like um there was one day that I was struggling so much with a problem and I was just like I need to do something. And I am a person that does not take the time to do arts and crafts. I don't. I have tried so much, Andrea. I have bought the paint. I have purchased this. I have a sewing machine at my parents' house because I took one class in college that was a sewing thing, and my mom was like, "She's gonna be a seamstress. So we're gonna. This is your Chris. This is all your Christmas is just sewing things." And I try to get into hobbies, but I am so bad at following through with any hobbies because I get so distracted and I get back into whatever I'm working on. So trying something new. One day I was really stressed out, put on a movie, and I pulled out, I literally have an entire box under my bed of all of the art supplies that I've collected over the last however many years. I pulled that out. I haven't opened it probably 5 years. I've moved it to like 4 different apartments, but I have not like I pulled it out. I had a canvas that I literally found by the dumpster, but I was like, this is in packaging still. I should take this. Why? I don't know, dude. I'm just like, I'm gonna use it someday.
Yeah.
I might be a hoarder. I don't know. Anyway, I pulled out that canvas. I pulled out the paint, and I ripped up a bag, put it on my. I'm just like, I'm gonna start painting things. I don't have a purpose, but I'm gonna start painting. And then I sat and I painted while watching a Disney movie, and it was amazing because it was trying something new, and I learned how to mix colors together, and I learned how to, like, again, I do a lot of deep dives in TikTok or Instagram or even YouTube, and it's like I've never tried any of those things before. So now I'm starting to make a list of things to try, and I want to try them, so I'm gonna do it. Um, so my advice to anybody, when you are really bogged down and feeling real shitty or stressed out, what's something you've always wanted to try? Have you never had a poppy soda? Go find one, a flavor that you normally wouldn't have. Go try it. It might be gross, but then you know. I don't know. This is not sponsored by
Not
Poppy.
sponsored by Poppy.
But I mean, Poppy, if you do want to sponsor me, like, I'm into it. I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm not, but okay.
I do want to give you a comment from Karen. Karen says, Mary, your show sounds amazing. Sounds like you bring all different types of people together. Thanks for helping people find this common ground. And I think common ground is such a unnecessary thing. It seems really simple, but it's something that I think we're struggling with right now in our society. So, thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you. That's one of the things that is really wonderful. You asked how do I do this when there's so much going on in the world, and like, I don't want to make a political statement with what I'm doing right now, because I think that there are so many people that are being so aggressively political that it's like, let's get back to the root of who we are as humans, right? What makes us us? When when there was a lot of trans hate going on in the world, I was making a reel that was like a recap. So I just like pick videos from different shows and I put them into a reel and I put that out on Instagram. And this just so happened to be when there was a lot of trans hate. And I looked at the reel that I had just ironically put together from grabbing presenters from all over the place, putting them in one recap reel. And I realized that every presenter was a trans person.
Huh.
And I was like, this is so cool. I'm not going to call it out because they like, that's not what they're here for. Mm-hmm. They are here because one of them was really in love with bugs and he wanted to teach us about his bug collection. He then also did another presentation about banana flavoring. So interesting. Another trans person was talking about, I mean, we also had somebody during Women's History Month talked about developments in medical transformations and how oh my gosh, I'm going to say this wrong. Sorry. Again, this is why I don't talk politics, because I don't want to, like, they're people. It's not political. It's right. It's a human life. But yes, so we've had people be a human on the stage talking about something that they humanly are very into. And that is what we are all about. So finding common ground, super important, because we're all humans at the end of the day, unless we're not. I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh. Don't strike. That's the other thing in my feed right now is all the AI. I'm like, no, I can't with the AI.
Yeah. And that's a whole, okay, so I'm in the tech industry, right? I like came up in the tech world. And so there is the artist in me that is like, AI is going to take over all of art and that's stupid. And then there's the tech person that's like, yeah, but if you want to go faster, using AI is amazing. And so then I have friends that like have multiple degrees in AI. And that's why I love them, because they come and they talk to me about all of these brilliant things and they teach me all of the cutting edge stuff, blah, 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 blah. And I think, if nothing else, if people pay attention to what they're doing with AI, then they can do a lot of really good in the world. But it's when you weaponize it or you don't think about the human side of things that it becomes a problem. And so who is there to guard or to guide which is the best way to use it and which is the not best way to use it. And that's where we get frustrating, and that's where it gets scary. And I don't know, people that are using it to create art, you can see them as terrible, horrible people. As an artist, I'm like, do I want there to be an AI that can be my face, that can be my voice? No.
No.
But as a content creator, I'm like, oh my God, if I could tell a robot how to say all of the things that I actually mean and to make it sound really good instead of how I would normally fumble my way through it, like, I don't know, part of me is like, that would be so cool. But I value human interaction, but I also value perfection. So that's as political as I will get about AI. I think that it has its points, and I think that I think it has to be monitored, and I'm not the person to do it, but yeah.
For the record, I do not want your AI chatbot on my podcast. I only want the real Mary, no chatbots.
Fair.
No chatbots. That's going to be my.
Got it. Heard.
Yeah.
No, I
no
want
chatbot
to...
guests on the Creative Imposter. Although imposter,
oh,
chatbot
shoot.
imposters. Oh God. So I do want to give one little plug.
Oh yeah.
Because Tuesday, August 12th.
Okay.
I'm gonna be doing show and tell for grown-ups.
Oh my gosh! As you're saying this, I'm like, okay, what am I doing on Tuesday, August 12th? I'm like, oh, I have a show on August 12th. Huh,
Yeah.
I wonder what she's gonna plug, because I can't plug
I'm
the same
doing
thing.
your show.
She's gonna be on my show. So come to the show. Yeah, sorry, keep going. You can do the plug. I won't do it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a Snakes and Ladders, I think.
Lattes.
Snakes and ladders.
Lattes.
Shoots and ladders.
Yeah.
Snakes and lattes.
It's a play on that.
Oh, I screwed it up. It's gonna be, wait, what's it called? Snakes and lattes.
Snakes and Lattes. It's a board game bar in Bucktown.
You may drink a latte. You do not need to climb a ladder. And hopefully there are no snakes.
Facts. I do not know of them in the
and my 5-minute talk is going to be about something that I am that I do professionally, which is sound design. But it's a funny story that is something that I learned that I didn't know. So I think it's called Transporting Us Through Sound Design, and then the subtitle is What's the Problem with Crickets? So yeah, I'll leave that to your imagination as to what that all entails. But
I'm so excited.
Yeah. It's a story that I've told many times, and I love telling it. So I'm so happy to have another place to tell it to more people.
I love that. I love that. So where you can find tickets is linked in my Instagram bio, which is at tellmewhyitscool_show. That's the Instagram. In my link tree are tickets for Snakes and Lattes on the 12th. If you are in the Chicagoland area and you want to sign up to be a presenter, the link for presenter sign up is also in there in my link tree bio. So yeah, sorry, I didn't ask if I could plug, but I'm plugging. That's it.
Good job, because many people are not good at that, and I usually do it for them, but now I don't have to. So thanks for making my job easier.
Yeah.
Thanks for not sending your AI chatbot for this conversation.
Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't do that, and I don't ever want to be known for saying that that's okay, because I don't think it's okay. But the I don't know what word I'm trying to say right now, but the business owner that is trying to get too many things done all at once sees it. I don't want it, but I see it.
On that note, thank you all for joining us for Creativity and Media as Resistance. It's not always serious. Sometimes it's fun. And thank you to Edwin Ruiz, our technical director behind the cameras, who you can't see, for making this happen in our little studio space. So this was a fun experiment. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want more Creativity and Media as Resistance, of course, most Thursdays at 3 p.m. Central, we'll be streaming live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram when it plays nicely and when Mary does her offering to the Meta Gods. And the replays are all available on YouTube and LinkedIn. And the edited versions that are audio only are available in the Creative Imposter podcast feed on your favorite podcast app. Thank you, Mary Doctor, once again for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I was so excited to be a part of this. Yeah, it's wonderful to see other people building something that is meaningful and purposeful and really well produced. So let's give it up for Andrea
And Edwin.
and Edwin.
All right. Bye, everybody.